Well, boy, that sounds interesting. God, I just got to find out just what you've got. And I guess you know the folklore concerning the TMC. TMC, they say that this is just, a story. Went out of business because all of the engineers there were so picky that they got on each other's nerves, and no matter what you did, it wasn't good enough. It just wasn't good enough. And they made, you gotta laugh, because they made some fine equipment, but they were not happy with each other. And you mentioned you got the multi-LMAX. I've got multi-LMAX and LMAX. The early ones were LMAX, and the later ones were multi-LMAX. And I made a homebrew power supply, which is beautiful, just like you see. It's in a 19-inch round, and it can power. My God, it's got a low voltage power supply that's so bodacious. I think it could run 24 AF67. And the transmit supply can easily run a pair. And there's two power plugs coming out of the back of that power supply to run the multi-LMAX or the LMAX, whichever one I decide to run. But talking about technical materials, I used to talk to Angelo, W-A-E-R-N, everything running normally on 10 meter AM all the time. And, he worked at an LMAX, multi-LMAX. I've got somewhere on my cell phone, some really neat prototype pictures of the gear, the amateur gear that they made. The prototype. And of course, this wasn't done on a smartphone or anything. This was done on 35 millimeter. No telling what. At least a very high quality black and white camera. But he sent me some of that. But he said over there at Multi-LMAX, it was tough. He said working there was like walking on eggshells. No matter what each engineer came up with, it was never good enough. Never good enough. And it just ate each of those guys out. One engineer against the other engineer. Angelo said, look, he tried to keep the peace, said, look, it's all great stuff. It's great stuff. You guys just calm down. But what was going on at Multi-LMAX was the same thing that got technical materials. I mean, those guys were not slouches. They weren't guys that ran around going, well, that's good enough. That's good enough. Why go any further? That's not who you're dealing with. And Angelo said, my God, you should have went to the factory. It was tense. So back to you there, Jim. K0JJ out here at 77YO. By the way, you're winning 50 overhead tonight.
Well, Glenn, thanks for the flowers. Yeah, the old gate, it works pretty well when everything is right. So I did spend some time getting everything tuned up the way it seemed to be best today. So, and yeah, the old Multi-LMAX, I've got two of the AF67s, and then I've got an LMAX also, but it is it's never been connected up by me, and let's see, I think one of the transformers has been pulled out of it, and somebody basically tried to do the modification to bypass the modulation transformer, and they kind of made a mess of it, and I never worked on it trying to get it straightened up. Just kind of used it as a spare parts rig, but yeah, it sounds like your power supply is like mine, enough to run more than a few of these LMAX, but it sits down there in the bottom of the rack and it works just fine. And you know, you flip it on and it brings all the filaments up, and it's got a time delay in it, so it doesn't bring the P plus up for a while, but it works pretty good, you know, and yeah, it's got plugs in it to plug in a couple of LMAX at a time, and I've got the LMAX actually that I've got connected up right now lost the ability to put out anything on 160 meters, and I haven't checked in to see why, so that's going to have to be a project shortly. The other LMAC, it worked fine on 4080 and 160, which is where I used it with the gates, but it obviously has a soft tube in it, and it lost, you know, you key it, it would put out enough power to excite the gates to begin with, and within about 5 seconds it was down to about a quarter of the power, so I'm guessing it's got either a bad output tube or maybe one of the offloader tubes, I don't know. And I'm not sure why this reference connector up now won't tune 160. It don't put out nothing when you flip it over to 160 meters. So it used to work, but something happened, so I haven't looked into it. I've been sticking pretty much on 40 meters most of the time lately. And that's one of the better antennas has been that 40-meter rotatable dipole. Although I do have a half-wave end-fed on 160, and I'm feeding it with a matching transformer. Basically, just a hand-wound transformer that works pretty good, only on 160 though, and if I transmit very long on 160, it gets too hot, and then the SWRs go through the moon, and everything shuts down. But I have a project going right now with a big vacuum cap and an inductor, so a variable inductor, so that's going to be getting connected up here as soon as I can spend a little bit more time with it, and I'll be putting it up on top of the post at the beginning of the half-wave wire, and I've got a couple of stepper motors that I'll be running to adjust it, so that's a project that's partly finished, but and that'll be probably one of the first projects I get finished up here as the weather gets cooler and I can't do work outside. But I'm looking forward to getting that back and going, because right now I can use 160 meter AM when I'm running my Central Electronics 200V, and I run it through my amp, and it has controlled carrier, so when there's no modulation, there's of course very low carrier and no power going into that matching transformer, so I'm pretty happy running that for a long time. But when I hook it up to the gates, which puts out both constant carrier on 160 meters, you know, I can talk for maybe 60 seconds in one at a time, and then I'll be backing off, so it'll, SWRs will all of a sudden start skyrocketing, and then, of course, I've got a PowerMaster 2, and it reads SWR, and it saves your butt by turning off the key when the SWRs gets over about 3.5. So that works okay and keeps me from burning things up. And unfortunately, I was not using that when I tried feeding the 40-meter antenna, and it was open. So that's what blew a few things up. So yeah. Well, always something to fix, though. Always got something. Always got more than enough projects here to do, and seems like if I can just keep things all in order and have something doing a halfway decent job on the air, I'm pretty happy. Catch up my frequency here a little bit, bring it over to 0, and there we go. W7YO, JJF, take it away.
Yeah, very good there, Jim. Well, I didn't notice any frequency change on this end. Of course, I'm listening on AM. So, I have found my AF67 to be extremely stable, so I haven't had any trouble with mine. Okay? I think 3 of them. Got 2 of them working. I have the same problem. The Fizzer transformer. I don't know if you ever heard Bacon, BTYPE, back in the late 60s. He was an AM guy. He had a Johnson 19500. Boy, that was a powerhouse. And that's what he called the transformer to go from a single-ended audio stage, drive a pair of, 6L6s, for example. He had to split it up. He had to come up with 180-degree phase shift. When you were talking about one of the AF67s that might have been Butcher, that might have been one of those deals where let's not replace the bad transformer going from the single-ended audio to the push-push. And let's figure another way of doing it. Cheap. I hate that stuff. The LMAX and the multi-LMAX I've got all had the same problem. They would work great on CW. They would work great on FM. They would not work on AM. So I figured, okay, so what are we going to do about this? Well, it turns out Hammond Transformer Company still makes that interstage transformer, which Bacon, BTYPE, but I always call that a Fizzer transformer. Because I used to listen to them every afternoon. When I got in from high school, I would listen to Bacon on 40 meters. And so I got to learn all the terminology way back when I was only 15 years old. I'm older than 15 right now. As a matter of fact, I can even buy beer legally. That's how old I am. But at any rate, back to the Fizzer transformer. Hammond still makes them for the multi-LMAC. The doggone same stinking one you've got. Now, the ones that they made a long time ago, the varnish or the shellac would turn acidic and eat up the copper wire. Then you're out of luck. Well, last time I bought one, which was recently, from Hammond, it was $22. They still got it. They still got it. It's in their catalog. They got it in stock. You want one? Call them up. But the problem you'll run into is that they won't sell it to you direct. You got to go through a dealer. So I found that RM Parts really won't mark it up any. Whatever Hammond says it goes for, RM Parts will sell it for the same price. Merritt, I think that's his name. He's very, very, I think, fair guy. But you can get it from Hammond, or you can get it from Antique Electronics Supply for $16. Now, I hate to admit it, but I went and bought the one from Antique Electronics Supply for $16, made in Mexico. Now, I didn't feel bad because I had to order some transformers and chokes for a measurements laboratory grid meter. And get this, Hammond still makes them. I had burned up transformers, burned up chokes, gave them a call, and they said, yeah, we got them. How many you want? I said, well, I don't know. I ordered two. I didn't have each. I didn't need two. I only needed one. I have more than one of the Bhutan or measurements, same thing, grid meters. But I figured, well, if I'm bugging these guys over there at Hammond, and these guys are saying, yeah, we got them in stock. How many you want? I thought, well, let's just find out. I said, how about I order two of them? If you got two? The guy said, yeah, we do. So I ended up with two of them, two of each. So don't rule out Hammond. I mean, some of this old crap that goes way back into the 40s, they got it, man. But they don't have to build it. They don't have to wind it up. They can send it to you the next day. And I got my laboratory grid meter all redone. And it is marvelous. It is marvelous. Those things were so accurate that the dial, if you look at the center of the dial at the shaft, there'll be a number there. And that number matches the serial number of the grid dip oscillator. That's how accurate they were and are. But God, Jim, when we all die, I don't know who's going to do what with what we got. They won't know what to do. I don't see it. I mean, who's going to come in there, look at my Super Pro 600 go, my God, what a beautiful receiver. Oh, that's awfully nice. Nobody's going to do that. Or are they going to be able to figure out the crystal scheme where you can, on your frequency control, you can select 1 to 6 crystals, and remember you got your little scratch pad on the side to tell you which crystal is which and how to make those crystals, and you can make them. You can make them. You don't have to order them, but who's going to do it, Jim? Who's going to do it? K0JJF, here's W7YO.
W7YO, yeah. I got a few crystals in my SP600, but I haven't had the SP600 connected up for a while. I need to do, I did an alignment on it, been years ago, and I didn't have all the equipment I needed to do it correctly when I did it, and it suffered because of it. And now I have everything I need to do a bang-up job on it, other than the time. So I want to get that SB600 back and get it connected up here soon. But I did pick up that SP400, and I'll tell you what, I'm impressed. It works every bit as well as the 600, I'd have to say. Yeah, it's lacking in a couple of controls, but it works very well. So, and gosh, the one I got, it is pretty much just like new. And, as far as transformers go, I went to, well, you probably know him, the electric radio, cleaned out his back room, and I think I brought home 97 hunks of iron. Weighed the back of my van right down. I think I've got a transformer for about anything you can imagine. I wouldn't be surprised if there might be a transformer or two in there for the Mulde Elmac. Although I haven't looked. Both of the Mulde Elmacs that I've got here modulate just fine, although I haven't used them for that for quite some time. I have hooked one of them up to my big amp here, and it drives it pretty well on AM. It's fun. It works well. But it's not as cool looking, I guess, as this big old gate sitting over here. So I have to say I like to run this big old thing. Probably have to touch it up a little bit here. Like to keep my plate cut under 300 milliamps. And, keep the RF line current gauge pegged. Here we go. Always too much to work on. And Mulde Elmac, that was, gosh, I've had one of them around long time. Had one in a car some, gosh, 68 Ford I had one in the back of it. When I moved to Colorado, as a matter of fact. And it was feeding a 102-inch whip with a loading coil in it. And it worked all right. I don't know. I think I probably still got a 12-volt power supply around for one. I'd have to do some digging, but I don't suppose I'll ever put running a vehicle again. Actually, I don't have a shortwave or a radio in any of my vehicles now. Closest thing I've got is a shortwave receiver in my '67 Mercedes. Of course, it came out of the factory with it. Works fine. Well, other than that, I play with most of the stuff I play with is too darn big and heavy to be mounting in a vehicle, I guess. So, but, yeah, that's the way that goes. Other than that, let's see, what else do I, oh boy, I got more stuff going on here than I should ever have going on at once. I need a vacation, and it's gonna be coming up here one of these days. I'm gonna go south. Gonna go south for a few days and hide out. So, back to you, Glenn. W7YO K0JJF.
How about going south down there to, where does everybody go down there in Arizona. Quartzsite. Quartzsite. Have you ever been there, Jim? Back to you, K0JJF. Here's W7 in Grand Rapids.
And you're on 7293. Boy, that's a special treat.
I'm on 272.95, and looks like I'm about 8K wide, or just slightly under that. So, I did hear you there. Quartzsite, I haven't been to Quartzsite for many years, but I do like to go down to Riverbend Hot Springs down in Elephant Butte. My sister and her husband live down there, and it's nice to go down there and spend a few days. And that's got that coming up here next month. And also think I'm going to hop on my motorcycle and ride down to Lake of the Pines Rally down by Shreveport. Actually, it's moved this year, so I guess it's south a little further, but couple of day motorcycle ride each way sounds like kind of fun. I have to get out on a motorcycle a couple of days. All of these things going on kind of fizzle into the background, and you come back, your head's clear again, and you're ready to hit it again. Back to you, Glenn. W7YO, K0JJF, and whoever else is in there, come on in.
Yeah, okay, let me get on 95 here. I got the web SDR on, so let me shut that off. Don't need it for you guys, you're too strong. Okay, there we go. I'm still moving up to 95. Going slow. Moving the big knob. There we go. Whoops. There we go. That should be close to 95 right there. Well, KJF and YO. What a pleasure hearing both you guys on. Anyway, we got a party going on here. You know, Sunday, just so happened to fall on a Sunday. A couple of birthday parties over celebrating here. And so, anyway, so I take a break from all the drinking and all that stuff. And so, you know, I don't drink alcohol, but I do like my iced tea or cold water or a cup of coffee, you know. So I got my cup of coffee with me. Yeah, alcohol has never been one for me. Yeah, smoking and drinking, don't do that. It's not good for the body, so. But it's a personal choice. I don't mind hanging around people. I don't think the secondhand smoking bothers me. Or the secondhand aroma of drinking. But as long as everybody's having fun. All right. Yeah, one time I got in trouble with my boss because I wasn't being sociable and hanging out at the bar and getting drunk. And I told him, I said, hey, no, that's not the case around. It said, I need all the brain power I can muster up to make you look good. So I'm doing deep dives and analysis and stuff like that. I need to have all the brain cells working so I can come out with some really good reports and so you can make good decisions and stuff like that and make you look good. He goes, oh, that's what's going on. Well, you just go ahead and continue on with your analysis. Oh, well. So anyway, let's see, Glenn, it's been a while. I guess it's been about a month now, I think. So W7YO in the group, WA6JKN.
Yeah, very good there, Kevin. Put the 20 dB attenuator on the Kenwood 440. Pick you up. You just overload my front end. Dad do that with Jim. He's the same way. He runs 50 over S9. And you're doing at least 40 over. But I think Jim's got you beat by 10 decibels. So how about that? He's a lot closer. At any rate, I'm glad you got in here. Yeah, Jim and I were just shooting the breeze as to, I don't know, just anything and everything. I've been up on 12 meters a lot. We got a lot of visitors on 12 meters. We have the Anytone. That's what I was told. Anytone radios. Anytone. And I wouldn't call them CBers. They're pirate operators. And they operate anywhere from, apparently, from 24 megacycles to 28. Anywhere in between. And lately, two groups have shown up. In the evening, there's a group of fishermen. And they're in Asia, and they're out there in fishing boats, and there's a number of them, and they use 24,985 as their main frequency. And they do not appreciate amateur radio operators operating on 24,985 when they're doing so. Although they can move. And then there's a group of Spanish-speaking people in the mornings, and they're on 24,985. And they don't appreciate it when you call CQ. They're going on a mile a minute back and forth. But what's wild is one of the pirate stations that's on 24,985 in the morning is a Kilo Papa 4. And he's talking to the bootleg stations somewhere else. I'm sure in South America or Central America. So the Kilo Papa 4s don't mind talking to pirate bootleg stations and giving your call letters while they're talking to the unlicensed station. I think the way they look at it is, I'm licensed, I'm here in Puerto Rico. The people that are talking in another country, if they're not licensed, well, that's an issue for them and their country. And I don't see why I should get involved. But I don't mind carrying on a conversation with them. So that's going on. So 12 meters got to the point where I had to move the old Viking 2 down to 24,962, 5.2, 0.5, somewhere in that range. And that's my new home. And I used to talk to my buddies in Switzerland on AM. But they found me at my new home, so we had to leave. So that's the news that you can use there, Kevin. At any rate, that's what's going on. And we were active all day today on 17 meters and had a lot of fun on 17. And we got another old fella. Now, Jim mentioned going down to Shreveport. I've got to hook him up with Ray. Ray is 80-something years old, I think 85. And he emailed me today asking for some directions on getting his Viking 2 on 17 meters. So I gave him the cheat sheet on how to do that. So, and I heard back from him. He said, thank you very much. But, golly, if Jim's going by Shreveport, I need to send him over there to see Ray, and I'll supply Jim with a crystal so they can get Ray all tuned up with his Viking 2. is at 85.
Well, how much longer are you going to go?
At any rate, back over there to Jim. We don't need to talk about age on this frequency. That's for votes. K0JJF, but WA6JKN on the side. Here's W7YO.
Yeah, W7YO, and good evening to you, Kevin, WA6JKN. Good of you to drop in here. Yeah, we just kind of been shooting a breeze here a little bit, yeah, you know, Glenn, when I've got a couple of grid dip meters here that are obviously not nearly as accurate in the calibration as the one you got, but I do have an SDR play here, and the screen is usually up, and you know, it picks up the signal from my grid dip meter just fine, and I can set it exactly where I want to. Same way I set the frequency on my AF67 is just looking at the SDR play. Yeah, that's an easy way to do it, and yeah, you know, there's not much point in trying to keep the transmitter zeroed when you're on AM, of course, but, you know, I try to keep it in the area as close as I can, so, and, you know, I don't have anything here that I can probably put on 17. I might be able to get the central electronics on 17, it does, you know, 15 with no problem, and I've definitely got, I got a few crystals around here. I could probably get it on 17, although I've never tried it. Wouldn't be surprised if it worked. I know it works fine on the CB bands. Got me in some trouble many years ago doing that. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. What else? Yeah, you know, I'm not sure if I'll be going into Shreveport. I used to go to Lake of the Pines, which is real close to Shreveport there, but they moved the rally that I'm going to west a ways. I'm not sure exactly where how far away it is, but I'll see if I have to take a look and see what my route's going to be. Other than that, Anytone radio, yeah, I guess I've done a little bit of reading on that. Yeah, sounds like something to get in trouble with. So I'll turn it over to you, Kevin, WA6JKN, K0JJF.